that moment when you started to go out and see a whole new generation and wave of music and cover it. And people actually started, when you guys thought, oh, people aren't really reading our stuff, they really were. They were sending you guys notes and comments about your columns and the musicians, and this whole wave starts with this. So where do you think we sit now for musicians, and the reporting that's happening now? Do you think people really listen?
I really don't know because I don't keep up with music so much now, but at that time, right before I started writing the column, Fear, Black Flag, and the Go-Go's had come up out of the clubs, and then after I started writing, the Minutemen, the Chili Peppers, Jane's Addiction, Social D, and Motley Crue, and Missing Persons, and those the Legals, and all these different bands just bubbled up out of these small clubs. And it was just a really, really exciting time because these bands were morphing. They were being created right before your eyes. And the audiences were really hungry for original music, which is such a wild concept if you think about it now, because people want to go out and sort of hear the hits, is what I understand, and hear sort of the same sets over and over again. So to see all of these really young and creative and energetic people expressing themselves and creating a scene out of nothing, basically, was tremendously exciting for me. And that's what made the music was great too, but all of that working together was sort of alchemy, and it was very, very exciting, and it was a lot of fun to be a part of.
I think we're in that mode now.
The thing you have to realize too is Billy is this young man coming from North Carolina to Los Angeles, and
the big dream, yes,
right when this whole scene is coming up, and he's like documenting it all and absorbing it all and living it all. It was a very exciting time.
So exciting when you enter the bloodstream. Like I hung out with the band Missing Persons right as they blew up in the early 80s, and they were like, "Do you hear me?" Walking in L.A. and all that. So, and it was really wild to see what happens when a musician or a band all of a sudden ignites, and the record company gets behind them, and they go out on tour, and suddenly they're, instead of attracting 24 people, you're attracting 20,000 people, and you're playing the US Festival with David Bowie, and to see all of that happen in like a year and a half, 2 years, right before your eyes, is tremendously exciting. Although I sort of, in a way, felt sorry for the people that happened to, because it could be a very heady thing. I mean, I realized hanging out with that band as they became famous that I never wanted to be famous.
Billy, you and I talked a lot about this book when you were getting ready to write it and as you were writing it. But what surprised you the most when you were researching your book and looking over your old reviews and things?
Well, one of the things that surprised me was coming to the realization that was Eddie Nash that I had interacted with on 2 different occasions. Because I hadn't seen the movie Wonderland until a couple of years ago. And then when I saw it, my jaw dropped. Eddie Nash was accused of, along with Johnny Watt and his bodyguard, of bludgeoning 4 people to death on Wonderland Avenue and leaving a 5th for dead with a thread lead pipe. And he came into Data Boy one day because the neighbors had complained about the Starwood. They got it shut down, and he was thinking about opening up a gay bar. Well, he flashed ahead to 1985, and the Odyssey, another one of the clubs that he owned. The neighbors, again, had gotten it shut down. They took their dance license. They didn't have a liquor license. So the manager calls me and says, "Billy, I need a band to play tonight. We're going to try to make it as a live band." Most of them were just rubbing it in the neighbors' faces that they were going to stay up. And I said, "Well, yeah, I'm managing a band called Red Wedding. I'll ask them if they could be there that night." So I got there. We'll give you $100, So the band says, "Okay, we'll do it." They go down. They show up. They do the gig. And I go to the manager and I go, "Need $100?" He goes, "No, we're not going to pay you." And I go, "What are you talking about?" He goes, "I'm not going to pay you." And I was like, "That's unacceptable." He goes, "Take it up with the owner." I thought I was talking to the owner. So I go up to the office, and it's Eddie Nash and his bodyguard. And Eddie Nash is sitting at a desk with at least $200,000 in bundles of cash on his desk. Oh. He said, "I'm not going to pay you. We didn't make money tonight. I'm not going to pay you." And I'm like, "Hey, look, Mr. Nash, he's going to pay $100. I told these guys they were going to get $100. That's pay him out of my own pocket. I'll do it. But, under the circumstances, blah, blah, blah." And finally he peels off 5 20s and tells me to get the F out of his club.